I'm Jim Griffith, and this is You and Your Money. Today we want to discuss a topic that's affecting millions of Americans, and that is the need for long-term care insurance. As medical science continues to advance, Americans are living longer, and this is creating a serious demand for long-term care insurance. Every day, for the next 7 to 10 years, 10,000 baby boomers are retiring on a daily basis. 70% of people that are 65 years of age or older will need some form of long-term health care during the course of their life. The National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys recently conducted a study, and they compared the risk of needing long-term health care to the risk of needing other forms of insurance. And what they found was absolutely staggering. The risk of needing insurance for an automobile accident is 1 in 240. That's 0.4%. The risk of needing insurance to address a fire in your home is 1 in 1,200, 0.08%. But the risk of needing long-term health care insurance to address the cost of health care is 1 in 2. That is 50%. As Americans live longer, the cost of long-term care will continue to increase. And a major portion of their retirement income will be needed to address long-term care costs. On a national average, the average cost for a private room at a care facility is $90,000 a year. The average cost for a shared room on a national basis is $81,000 a year. And the cost is continuing to increase. The need for long-term care is especially critical for women. Women live 7 to 10 years longer than men. After age 75, more women are living alone compared to men, and they're living on a single income. In many cases, these women are caregivers themselves, while at the same time providing long-term care to others. 70% of nursing home residents are women. The average age of admission to a nursing home for women is age 85. According to AARP public policy statement, and I quote, "Because of higher rates of chronic health problems, disability, and lower incomes than men on average, many women do not have the money or the resources to pay for long-term care costs." That's why having a plan in place to pay for long-term care is so critical, especially for women. Without long-term care insurance or a plan to pay for your long-term care costs, you are basically deciding to self-fund the cost of your long-term care. When you do this, you are forced to spend down your hard-earned retirement savings that you've worked for so many years. Long-term care is extremely expensive because we have to address issues such as 24/7 nursing home care, assisted living care, adult daycare services, in-home care, and in many cases, homes have to be physically modified for individuals to receive care in their home. But have no fear, there are issues being discussed and actions being taken to address helping you pay for the cost of long-term care insurance. The Pension Protection Act of 2006 recently made changes in the Internal Revenue Code, Section 72, which governs the tax treatment for annuity and life insurance proceeds. This section now includes a provision titled, and I quote, "Special rules for certain combination contracts related to long-term care costs." This allows an individual to take the capital gains from a cash value life insurance policy, as well as the capital gains from a deferred annuity, and use those proceeds to purchase a qualified long-term care plan to pay for long-term care costs. Additionally, modern life insurance policies provide accelerated benefit riders that give you access to money for critical, chronic, and terminal illnesses to address the cost of long-term health care. There are also annuities that have special enhanced benefits specifically to address the cost of long-term health care. These annuities allow you to get 100, and in many cases, 200% of the original premium deposited specifically to address the cost of long-term health care. If you haven't given thought to how you're going to pay for your long-term health care, now is the time for action. The cost of procrastination and not having a plan in place is financial and emotional stress placed on your loved ones and a lack of dignity and independence in your golden years. Stay with us. We'll continue this discussion on the need for long-term care after this commercial break.
Joining me now on set, Jim Griffith of Griffith Financial Services. And Jim just talked a moment ago about long-term care. And Jim, when should a person buy long-term care insurance?
Yeah, the best time to buy long-term care insurance is actually when you're young. The problem is that most people, when they're young, they're not thinking about being 60 and 70 years old. So to pay premiums on a policy from age 20 all the way into your 70s, could be a little bit problematic because the money that you put into a long-term care insurance policies has to be used specifically for long-term care. If you don't need long-term care, then you're going to have to pay taxes on that money. And so it's a little problematic with traditional long-term care policies.
And when it comes to Medicaid spend down, what exactly is that?
Yeah, Medicaid spend down basically is Title 19 of the Social Security Act. Basically requires you to spend down all of your resources. If you've done very well and you, let's say, have $600,000-$700,000, you won't qualify for your federal benefits under Medicaid and Medicare to cover your long-term care costs. So then you're forced to spend down all of your savings and all of that money that you've accumulated to the point to where you only have about $25,000. Then you qualify for your long-term care benefits on the Medicare and Medicaid because that program was actually put together as a safety net for the poor.
Wow. Now, is there any way around the spend down, Jim?
As a matter of fact, there is. We recommend highly that an individual get with us or a qualified planner, if you will, and get an asset protection plan. You need to do this 5 years before you actually need long-term health care. Once you do that, you're able to qualify for your Medicaid and Medicare and use that money to pay for your long-term care costs. Because keep in mind this, all of the years that you're working, they're taking money out of your check and FICA.
Sure is.
And that money is specifically designed and it's going for the purposes of paying for your long-term health care.
Okay.
So in actuality, you get penalized for being successful if you don't plan and get this situation taken care of and get everything inside that asset protection plan. And the main thing about that asset protection plan is it avoids the 5-year look-back period, because if you don't have that plan in place before you need it 5 years, they can actually look back and force you to sell a lot of your assets to pay for the cost that the state incurs in providing you with long-term health care.
Wow.
Let's take a look at this video, and it'll drive this point home, why it's so important to get long-term care coverage.
The good news, we're living longer. The bad news, that's going to take more money than most people are planning for. 7 out of 10 people over 65 will need long-term care at some point in their lives. 2 out of 10 people will need that help for more than 5 years, and that is costly. Home care costs an average of about $20 an hour. Assisted living communities can run $42,000 a year. Nursing homes cost about $240 a day. Add that all up, that's more than $87,000 a year. That's like buying 3 new cars every year. And the real issue, health insurance won't cover it. So what can you do? Well, you can always pay out of pocket. But what if you can't bankroll all that? There's Medicare, but Medicare only covers a nursing home for up to 100 days. There's Medicaid. It's a solution, but only if you have an income low enough to qualify. And finally, you can purchase long-term care insurance. The average cost of a long-term care policy is about $2,200 a year. The average policy covers about 5 years of care. Bottom line, if you don't qualify for Medicaid and you can't pay out of pocket, consider some long-term care insurance and start planning early.
Great information, Jim. Jim, great information as always, man. And, you know, when you talk about this issue, very, very important for people to know about.
It is important because over the last couple of days, I've spoken to probably 20 people that are literally having to disrupt their lives to provide long-term care for their mothers. In many cases, this falls back on one individual. And you may have 4 or 5 family members, but in most cases, they don't share in the responsibility of helping take care of their own parents.
Absolutely. So, well, Jim, are you out and about this week? You got your Rockstar event coming up again?
We do. The Rockstar. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Rob. The Rockstar event is on Thursday, July the 25th. And once again, we'll be at 4th Avenue Lounge from 6 to 9 p.m. Everyone come out, bring plenty of business cards, be prepared to network, make some new business connections. That's what we're all about.
Well, Jim, you know, I want to make sure that, you know, when I get there this time, you know, I have no trouble, because the last time I came there, they were like, hold it, you have no business and no business in here.
No, Rob, they didn't do that to you.
They didn't do me like that.
Okay.
But yeah, this is a great way to meet people and, like you said, network.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So let everybody know how they can find Jim Griffith.
Yeah, absolutely. If I could, a couple of things
Yes,
real
sir.
quick.
Absolutely.
There's one, we discussed a while back about our child asset builder. We finally got our booklet published. This booklet is extremely critical reading. This is a plan that allows parents to give their children permanent protection, and you can do this as early as 15 days old. And you can do it with as little as $25 or $50 a month. It will provide your child with permanent life insurance protection, the ability to accumulate cash over several generations, growing tax deferred, and at retirement, pull money out 100% tax-free. You can also use this plan, properly funded, to finance a child's education and address the scourge that we have of the problem of student debt. So that's one thing that we have going there. Also on July the 30th, we'll be doing a seminar at Lou's Full Service Kitchen on fortification, specifically on the child asset builder.
Absolutely. Right. Well, Jim, I see a picture on page 25. And now, is that you, Jim?
That's me and my grandmother. My grandmother, love her to death. She had a significant influence on me, along with my mother, father. But you know how grandmothers are; they have a tendency to spoil you. So when I couldn't get it from mom and dad, I cut a beeline to grandma.
Well, that's fantastic, Jim, and I really appreciate all the information that you provide here on JSU TV. So let everybody know where they can find you.
Absolutely. Give us a phone call at 800-361-6542, or go to our website, griffithfinancialservices.com. Just click on that Contact Us button, send us an email, and we'll get back with you in a brief period of time.
All right, make a stop by the E-Center, and you can pick up one of these books. Anywhere else you can pick up one of these books, Jim?
Well, we're in the process of getting these out. I just got them from the printers yesterday. So right now, come by the E-Center, and we'll keep you posted. We'll have a book signing party here soon. So get that child asset builder and give your child a generational legacy.
All right, great news, Jim. All right, stay with us. We're back with more after the break.